to hurt. Somebody listening now, blinded by the paper. And all this running through their mind is how I'm a hater. The truth is, I ain't rich, but I'm not broke. And I done turned down deals you done hopped on. If the money's really worth something and we print it, then how we in a deficit? Bet you never questioned it. How's $20 worth less than $100? They the exact same thing with different numbers on them. It's just a tool that they've been using to get control. That's why they put you in a cell if you print your own. But everything, including us, they get to clone. Knock it off, you funny, money will never get us thrown. I am a G-O-M, courtesy of G-O-D forever. It's God over money, and money over nothing. It only got the power that you give it when you love it. It's just paper, can't you see? It's changed us from now on. God over money, God over money. Alright, so now you can go back and try to poke holes in what I'm saying. But after you do that, and recognize that what I'm saying is the truth, then the question is, what you gonna do about it? What you gonna change, homie? And don't let these cats gas y'all up, man. They on records talking about what they got that you ain't got, and what you ain't if you don't have this, homie. Telling you, don't let these cats tell you what successful is, dog. Real talk.
One of the daughters of the house, Pastor Tracy Lee. Thank you all for joining us here at the Glory House Chicago Financial Seminar. My name is Pastor Designate Carrie Merrills, and sitting beside me is Adjutant Ronald Miller. And we also have a daughter of the house, Pastor Tracy Lee, who is on, and we'll bring her in shortly. We are here because we want to just give out some nuggets on financials, on how you can improve things in your personal life as well as in your business life, and then provide you some resources. We do honor the Lord and all that he is doing for us. We thank the Lord for our Bishop Cornelius E. Williams, who he is allowing us to go forth. We're grateful for his leadership and his ability to see the gifts on our lives and then allow us to present those gifts to you all. Just some things that we have learned. All three of us are very qualified in what we're going to be discussing. And the reason I can say that is we all run successful businesses. And we have been in operations in our businesses and even in our personal lives. And we have fruit to say that we are successful. So I do want to start this out with a prayer, and then I'm going to give you a scripture, and we're going to go right into this informational session. Father, we thank you and we glorify you. We thank you for who you are, your presence in this seminar today. We thank you for the audience that is viewing currently and the ones that will view it later. We pray, God, that the things that we say, God, that it will be a blessing to them and you'll be glorified from it. And this we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. I want to start us out with a scripture. I was thinking about what we need to do, and I know it's financial, and so the Bible has a lot of different things that discuss finances. And I landed on Luke 16, verses 10 through 13, and I'm going to be reading it from the Amplified Version. It says, "He who is faithful in a very little thing is faithful also in much, and he who is dishonest and unjust in a very little thing is dishonest and unjust also in much. Therefore, if you have not faithful in the case of unrighteous mammon, which is money, deceitful riches, money, possessions, who will entrust you to the true riches? And if you have not proved faithful in that which belongs to another, whether God or man, who will give you that which is your own, that is the true riches." Verse 13 says, no servant is able to serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will stand by and be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon, riches, or anything in which you trust and on which you rely. So far, the scripture. So I am going to be talking, I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to be talking to you all about savings, and I'm going to talk about how you can build savings accounts. And then I'm going to talk to you all about credit. And then Pastor Tracy Lee will jump in on how to build your financial credit. And then Adjutant Ronald will discuss how to build your business credit. And we decided to go this way because you cannot establish credit business wise unless, for your business, unless you have success in your personal life. And so credit and budgets are one of the things that I love to discuss. So let's get into it. What is a budget? I want to start out by saying a budget is a friendly account of what you have. It is not a curse word. Budgets are helpful in monitoring what you have coming into your home. If you are single, such as me, you need to know exactly the amount that you have coming into the house. What do I mean? If you make $50,000, that is not the amount that comes into the home. That is the amount that you're going to be taxed on. If you are married and you are jointly bringing in income, if you and your spouse make 50, one make 50, the other one makes 80, 30, that's $80,000. But again, that's not the amount that comes in. So the first step in preparing a healthy budget is to know your income. And that is the amount that comes in after the government has taken out its portion, after any type of medical that you're paying, any type of back taxes, there could be child support, it could be any of those things that you are paying, and it is coming directly out of your income, out of your check. So once you have established your income, then you write that down, and that's your starting point. You also need to know the amount of expenses that you have. This is crucial. Your expenses are crucial because a lot of times we don't pay attention to what we're spending. Debit cards are great, but they have crippled us in a way because we don't monitor it. We don't go back into our bank accounts, and we don't perform bank reconciliations on a monthly basis. So you get a statement every month. It's not just so you can see what you're spending, it's so that you can evaluate what you're spending. Because without evaluating, you can't make the proper adjustments to be able to make those changes that will be for the betterment of your household. So step one, you're going to figure out what your income is, the exact amount. Step two, you're going to itemize your expenses. Expenses are your light bill, your gas bill, your utility bills. You already know that. If you're paying a mortgage or rent, it's your rent. If you're paying any type of insurances, it's insurance. It's your groceries. For the women that go and get their hair, nails, and feet done, it's for that too. That is a part of your budget. That is your personal care budget. If you are a person that like to go out and party, then that's a part of your budget as well, your expenses. Everything that you do and everything that is coming out of your account, that is what you should be accounting for as part of your expenses. Let me go back. For those individuals that get a check for your income, that's income. But if you get cash payments, that's income as well. So you want to be able to account for it. You can account for things differently, and I'll explain to you that later. So step one, again, we're going to know our income, and then we're going to know our expenses. Why is that important? Because that will determine if you're able to save. Because you can't adjust if you don't know what's coming in and what is going out. Saving is very important. I am a person that believes in the 10-10-80 rule. That rule says that I pay God 10, I pay myself 10, and I live off 80. So I save 10% of my earnings every month. That is not something that I use for when I want to go on a vacation. That's not that. My savings is my savings because I need to have an ample amount of money in my account. That's what I have purposed. So when you want to start off with savings, you want to determine what you want to see at the end of the year. And for those of you all that are not really good at savings accounts, one of the things that I used to do way back in the day was I put my money in an account in a bank that didn't have access to, that I didn't get a debit card, but now you can go online and you could transfer within your accounts. But for the most part, you just leave that alone. If you are gainfully employed, your employer allows you to put money in several different accounts. I think where I work, you can do it up to 5. And so that way, that money goes straight into that account, and you just pretend like it's not there. That is not your emergency fund account. I'm coming on down this line. Your emergency fund is a rainy day, as my brother Ronald said a few minutes ago. That's if you have a car and all of a sudden your brakes go out. You don't go to your savings account, you go to your rainy day account. Now, I do understand that everybody is not able to do all of that. But what I am asking you to do is take a look at what you do have and see where you can make some slight adjustments that will be beneficial to you. A lot of people make, New Year's resolutions. Let it be that we're already in the month of May. We're in the 5th month of the year already. Start right now and say, I'm going to make some changes, and I'm going to ensure that my bank account is not on zero at the end of the month because I spent more than what I actually brought into a house. You want to have more money at the end of the month than have expenses at the end of the month. What else can we do? Once we look at our expenses, now we start looking at what we can do to trim down. I am not a big credit card person, but I do have credit cards. And I monitor how I spend on my credit cards. I have a rule of thumb. If you are not able to pay it off by the end of the month, don't buy it. You have to make those adjustments. Stop stunting. We don't have to stunt. We could just repurpose what we have so that we can do what we need to do and be able to help ministries, be able to help our family and our friends. Also, when it comes to your emergency fund should be about $5,000. That's a minimum. 3 months of your income, so that you can pay your bills just in case something happens. You should always, so if you make $1,500 a month, that's the amount that you actually bring into the house, then you need to have $4,500 in a rainy day fund or your emergency fund, so that if anything were to happen, you'll still be able to pay your light and your gas bill. You'll still be able to pay your phones, because we don't leave home without our phones. So yeah, you want to be able to make sure that your home keeps moving just in case something happens. Okay, so now we have an income, we have our expenses, and we have our savings. My other thing I would like to say is you have to make these adjustments. What am I saying? You don't always have to buy new shoes. I say that because I'm a shoe person. And when I am trying to pay down credit cards, or I am making a plan to go on a trip, then I make those adjustments not to spend as much on this particular month. I am also that person that will tell you with your expenses, you can do for your credit cards, you take the least amount, the lowest credit card that you have, and then you pay that one off. Now, you don't have an extra $30. You put that $30 on the next credit card bill. So you could do that. Come on, Ronald.
I just want to come in for a minute, but honestly speaking, I wouldn't even want a credit card right now. The way they raising interest rates.
That's right.
And if people not looking at their credit cards, your interest rate steady going up on them without you even knowing.
So that's another way to evaluate. You can evaluate your credit cards by looking at the statements that you receive. And I know a lot of us do a lot of things electronically, but I am a paper person, Because why? When you get things electronically or come into your email, you ignore those things. But when you get them and they come into your into the mail, I tend to open it up and briefly scan and look at it. And not only should you look at your credit card statements, you should really evaluate your bank statement. It's called a bank reconciliation because banks make mistakes too all the time. They make mistakes as well because they have so many different transactions coming through your account that they's like, well, they don't look at them and they can overcharge you. And for those of you all that are really good, when you do those, hey, you have free for 30 days. No, don't do those free for 30 days and then afterwards it's going to go up to $59.99. Why? Because you forget. And then guess what? Now your bank account or your income, you're deducting from your income on something that you really did not have and you didn't really want to keep. So be careful so that, I'm a Prime member too. Like I'm a Prime. We all like Amazon, but Amazon tends to put extra things on your account. Next thing you know, you have stars and you didn't ask for stars, but because you didn't tell me you didn't want it, now that's an extra $5.99 that's coming out of your bank account, which is deplenishing what your income is, which stifles you from being able to do certain things that you would like to do. You have anything to say about that? All right, I get the thumbs up for that one. So now we have to do these budgets. We have to do our credit. We have to look at everything. But also, I am one of those people that is a big advocate of insurance. You have to make sure that you are gainfully insured. Life insurance is important. This is also financial seminar. If you do not have insurance, period, you're in trouble. Not from your job only. You have to have an outside insurance just in case you're eliminated from or terminated from that position. Now, most people cannot afford COBRA. COBRA is expensive for medical and for your life insurances. You can get something and you can pay $15 to $25 to $30 a month. It just depends on what you would like to leave your family. It says in the Bible that, you should leave your kids an inheritance, so for your children's children's children. And so how do you do that? A lot of us will not be millionaires, but a lot of us are. Amen? A lot of us are millionaires, and we're going to leave our kids not only an inheritance by our insurances, but from what we have in our savings accounts and from our credit and our businesses. And so we want to make sure that we have life insurance, and I know Pastor Tracy may say something about it as well, but we want to make sure that you are getting life insurance so that you can make sure that if anything, especially if you're the head of the household. I am also the person that will tell you that you should live off of one income. If you are in a two-household income, you should live off the person's income that make the least amount of money.
I got a question I'm gonna ask you. So what if you're married? Do you y'all combine your income together and save one income and live off the other, or how does that work? Or do y'all split down the middle? Or I'm sorry. I'm gonna say this again. If you're married, do you combine your income together, or do you have it separate, or do you live off one income and you save the other?
You know what? It depends on your household, even when it comes to filing your taxes. Because if you're married filing jointly, you get a better savings than if you married filing single. They tax you on a higher level. They tax you higher on married filing separately because they think that you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing. So Uncle Sam says, hey, I want to tax you more. If you all are both good, financially savvy, you might combine your money. If you're not, it might be one person that is in charge of the household expenses and income. I know that, I'm one of those, when my brothers, my brother's wives take care of their money. One of my brother's wives take care of the money, and the other one, my brother is very student of how to monitor the funds. And so they do have joint accounts. Some of them have you have joint accounts, you have joint, and then you have your separate. But I know of another couple that I thought was really good. What they have is a home account. That home account, they both dump money into that house account, and that house account pays all the bills.
That's good.
Because why? You may be a person that like gym shoes or sneakers. I might be a person that like purses, and I want to buy them, but that shouldn't come out of the household budget. Even with me as a single person, I try to make sure that the expenses for my household, if I'm doing extra, I'm making sure that that is not a part of, making that is not a part of my regular expense. It goes into my expense. It is not something that I just haphazardly just spend my money on. I monitor every dime that comes into my house. That's even my rent.
Pastor Tracy has something when you
Go for it, Pastor Tracy.
Oh, am I on live? Can you guys hear me? Yes. No. Can you hear me? I'm not sure if you can hear me.
No, Pastor Tracy, go. You had something to say? You are.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. No. Oh no. Go ahead. I'm listening.
We
I'm
can hear
listening
you.
right now. Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
I don't think she can hear us. We can hear you.
No, you can continue, Pastor Carey.
Okay. So yeah, it just depends on how your household is set up. Everybody's household is set up differently, and you have to make things work for your household. I think that most of the time in marriages, there's not conversations about finances. There's not finances. We don't have enough conversations about our finances, and sometimes money is a huge factor as to why a lot of people get divorced because they don't have those personal conversations. I also think that if you're raising
And good credit.
and good credit. A lot of times you have one person that has the good credit and the other person that does not. So how do I bring you up or keep you from bringing me down? We have to have those one-on-one conversations. That's important. I'll go back. I'm a single mother. And what I did to make sure that my kids had good credit was I put them on my credit cards
Yeah, I did the
and
same.
I monitor them.
I did
Yep.
the same thing.
How did that work out?
They just don't get the credit cards, but I taught them how to pay the bills. When I did put them in there to start applying for their own credit cards, uh, I just had a system with them where if you spend so much, you pay so much back, but always pay over than the minimum balance. So most all my kids basically got 750 credit scores.
And 750 credit score is really good. You have to live within your means. You have to teach financial acumen to the young people. They have to become financially astute on how to handle things, because when they get to college, for all of our children that are getting ready to leave for college, the first thing that you're going to receive is a credit card form. Because why? They know that you don't have credit, and they're going to send it to you so that you can establish your credit. But if you don't know that if you spend $30, if you don't pay it back in full at the end of the month, that is now 35 or 38.87 cents, because of, depending on the type of the amount of the interest rate, you're going, now you don't have it. And now
Mm-hmm.
it keeps building, and you'll be surprised how fast $30 can get up to 1,000.
Yes.
Anything else to say about that? All right. So I've been talking for a few minutes. I'm going to swing this over to Pastor Tracy, because one of the things that we decided was you cannot have great business credit and your personal credit is not good. 680 is just the floor to get you in the door. Anything over 680 is where you want to land. 800, 850?
850.
850 is the top. But if you're anywhere between 680 and 850, you are doing good. Not only are you doing good, but you need to know how to maintain that so that it doesn't deplete and go back down, because it's hard to get it back up when it goes back down.
I'm gonna say something. Everybody always look for the big 850 credit score, but it's pretty much not a difference between the 850 credit score and the 750
720,
in that range or somewhere. I'm not quite
740.
sure, but I do know the interest rates will still be the same. And then sometimes when you have too much credit, they don't want to give you credit. So, Pastor Tracy, I think you can touch on that more for us.
Yeah, grace and peace, you guys. Thank you so much. Y'all talking real good. Y'all talking real good today. Um, Definitely, you don't have to have necessarily an 850, right? Most people do not have an 850 credit score. And a lot of times it can take years to get to that point. Like if you see somebody with an 850 credit score, they probably got 15 plus years of credit history, never had any late payments. You know, they're well rounded with the types of credit that they have, which, you know, are like the revolving credit types, which are going to be your credit cards, the installment loans, a mortgage. A lot of them might have a car loan, some student loans, which y'all be trying to get them student loans off your credit. And first question is like, well, why? Because typically the student loan is most of the time the oldest account that someone would have that is reporting on their credit. So 850, yep, is the goal, but you may not see that unless you get some authorized user types of accounts, some trade lines, which you really kind of want to stay away from that and just build your own credit history. So I'm with you guys, pastors, with putting your kids on your cards. I have a daughter that's in college right now, and I have a son that's 23 years old, and they both are in the 700 credit scores. And then even my son's girlfriend, you know, I had to help her out and put her on my credit card too, so that they can have that good credit and be able to start and build and establish. And so now they all running in the 700s, okay? So that's definitely a good way to get your children started. When you talk about your credit score, your scores are broken up into five different areas. So they're calculated in five different areas. Um, so the one, and there's no particular order, but the first one is your paying history. That's 35% of your credit score. That's the largest. That's equivalent to about 192.5 points. So 192 points. If you are late on a credit card, a car loan, a mortgage, depending on the type of account that it is, can also determine the weight of the points lost. So, for example, if you're late on your mortgage payment, you can see 100-point drop. If you're late on your Chase credit card, you might see a 30 points drop. And you're like, well, how is that? And I was just late on both, because it's different factors. The accounts weigh a little bit differently. So you have a 35% is your credit history. That's 192 points right there that can manipulate depending on your payment history. And then you have, which we tell people in the credit world, that this is a way that they can boost their scores up fast, is you have 30%, which is your utilization or amount owed. That's equivalent to about 165 points of your credit score. So when you're talking about utilization in the credit world, we normally tell people, all right, pay your credit cards down, below that 30%. But technically FICO, with the FICO score model, with your Credit Karma, probably your Credit Wise, what you're seeing in your Chase bank account or whatever credit card that you use. If it's not FICO, it's called Advantage scores. Most lenders do not use Vantage scores. 95+% of lenders are going to use that FICO score. So that 30% with that amount that's owed technically is 30%. So all of your debt is not just your utilization, but most people have more control over their credit card debt. So we can easily, a lot of times pay that card down. If you have a credit card for $500, at the time of reporting, you got to know your reporting date, which is also AKA your statement date, which means you got to look at that statement, and it's going to say, just for example, from January 15th to February, just say we're in January, right? January 15th, it opened, and then it closed on February 14th. And then the next month, it might say, okay, it opened on March 15th and it closed on April 14th. So now you know, okay, well, my statement date is the 14th of every month. So what I tell people is you want to pay that card down or off, at least 30% down or off, no later than the 12th of the month, so that it'll have time to process your payment. And by the 14th of the month, it's going to report on your credit report at that 30% balance or lower. And then don't use that card to the 15th or the 16th, because you want to make sure that it's reporting and nothing is returned and nothing's happening with your bank account. When you do that, you'll see your credit score begin to increase. And some people, depending on how much they can pay off and how many credit cards they have, when they pay that down, that 30% or lower, man, I've seen people with 100 score increase just from that. Okay. So that is one part. So the first part is 35%. That's your credit history. 30%, that's the amount owed on your credit. And then the next one is going to be your credit length of your history. So the length is how long have you had these accounts? It's the average of that. So that is 15%. That's 82 points. So when you get a whole bunch of new accounts, you're applying for new credit and you get 3 new credit cards, or within a 4-month period of time, then your credit history is lessened, and so you'll begin to see your score decrease. It'll only decrease for a little while, but it's nothing that you can do about that part. That's why when people say, well, I want to take my student loans off, it's like, why you need to take your student loans off? Because that's probably, you didn't have this since 2004. Leave that student loan alone. Now, the only time, and I'm talking about a credit repair process here, y'all. So the only time that someone would probably want to take their student loans off is if they're looking to buy some property and it's affecting their debt to income ratio. But that's another story. But other than that, you need to leave that on, okay? And or if it's derogatory, if it's negative, of course, you want to remove that. But just because it comes off don't mean you don't owe it. So let's make that clear, okay? So that's 15%. That's 82.5 points, how long you've had your credit overall. And then the other two are 10%. This is the calculation of your FICO score. So you got 10%, which is types of credit. So if you have someone that just have all credit cards, so you got 4 credit cards on your credit. You don't have no installment loans, no student loans, no car loans, no mortgages, then you're probably going to be capped at whatever certain amount. So you might call and say, well, Tracy, why I can't get my score to go past, 670. And then if I'm looking at your report and I see that all your balances are low and everything, it's like, oh, because you need to get some different type of credit. You need to do a short term and a long term installment loan. So you can do that by getting a credit builder loan or some type of installment loan from your bank or your credit union. You may not need to go get a car loan. You can do something as simple as getting what's called a self account, which is also another credit builder account, but it reports each and every month to your credit report as an installment loan. Okay. And then the other 10% of your credit score is which equals about 55 points, is new credit. So when you apply and get those inquiries, if you get denied for a card, then that's a ding in your credit score. But if you get approved for that card or any type of new credit, it'll off balance most of the time. It'll offset most of the time, where you might lose 3 to 5 points, where you can now gain that 3 to 5 points instead of losing it when you are actually approved. Okay. So when you're thinking about your budgeting and you're thinking about building your credit at the same time, this is what I tell people. So the bills that don't report on your credit. So what's not reporting on our credit? Like, y'all put in the comment section. Give me some things that don't report on your credit report. Drop some stuff in the comments for us. Your light bill, right? Your utilities. Most states, your gas bill, it does not report unless maybe you're late or you default, it might report. Your Netflix bill, your internet cable bill. Come on, y'all. Are the people of God talking to us in the comments chat? No. What are those bills that that are not reporting on your credit report? And I'm saying this because I know Pastor Kerry was like, "Hey, I don't like no dang on credit cards. I got them, but I prefer not to use them." So when you are in that type of situation, especially if your cards are you then kind of maxed them out a little bit, and now you know, like, man, this is affecting my score. This is what I tell people: those bills that are not reporting on your credit, that light bill, that gas bill, that water bill, that garbage bill, that Netflix, that Amazon Prime bill, those bills that are not reporting, you take that cash. So if you got $1,000 worth of bills every month that you know that you're paying, most Black folks, we pay these out of our bank account, don't we, y'all? Do we not pay these out of our checking account? We put that boy on PayPal. We have it automatically coming out of our checking account, right? And so when you do that, just let me just tell you, stop. So you take that cash that you was paying all those bills to, and then you put that cash on them credit cards. You wait till those cards report with that zero to low balance, and then you take that same card and now you go back and pay those bills. Does that make sense, y'all? Yay, nay? Does that make sense? So now, we got to get out of the habit of using our checking account for everything and putting those things on our credit cards. Right. Okay. Yep. Bree said light, gas, utilities, streaming apps, phone bills. Right. Don't use your debit card for that. Those people can wait. You can make arrangements with them. I can't hear you, Pastor Carrie. You can make arrangements with them and it won't negatively affect your credit. But if you got to make a choice between, do I pay the bills that's reporting on my credit and the bills that's not reporting on my credit, you always make a choice to pay the bills that's on your credit. Call that utility company and be like, hey, I can pay this on the 15th. Can you extend it if that's what you need to do? Okay.
No, I'm I'm saying that's great money management.
Awesome. So, another way too, since we have that part out of the way, we want to, if you have any negative items on your credit, so if you got any late payments, any collections, any charge offs, you need to dispute those items. Okay. Let me tell you something. If you pay a collection, if you got a medical collection, first of all, if the medical collection is below $500 right now, there was a new law passed last year that went into effect this year, then it should not be on your credit report. Okay, but if that is and if you have a medical collection that was more than $500, but you paid it, that also should not be reporting on your credit report. Okay, so you need to request in writing through deletion, through dispute to all the credit bureaus that this is deleted. If you pay a collection on your credit report. So just say you got a Verizon, let me say this is not legal advice. This is for your educational and informational purposes only, period. Okay. But if you pay those collections, your credit score will not increase. Let me say that again for the people in the back who may have a hard time hearing. If you pay that collection, your credit score will not increase. Okay. That is important. So before you pay a collection, this is what I would do. I'm definitely going to dispute it, number one, with the credit bureaus. Number two, I'm going to do what is called a debt validation letter, okay, to the creditor. In a debt validation letter, I'm asking for a series of information. I want to know who the original creditor is in a debt validation, okay? And I want to know who the original creditor is. I want to know if there was any interest. There's a whole lot that I need to know, okay, with that validation. And so I'm going to send that certified mail to the collection agency. And what you will find 8 times out of 10, they cannot they don't have the information that they need, which means that they have to stop collecting and they have to stop reporting on your credit report. So now you ain't got to pay them, and they're not reporting on your credit score, which you should see an increase from that. So before you just go out and spending your hard-earned money to pay these debt collectors who are crooks, a lot of them are they crooks, honey. Okay, search the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, and you will see the types of violations, the things that you can dispute when you're doing that. So that is what I have for you guys on credit. You got the 5 points that is calculating your score, and then anything that you have negative on your credit report, you definitely want to dispute those accounts and do everything in writing. Don't do none of this stuff on them apps, them Credit Karma apps. Take your time, sit down, write out a letter. You can follow up with me after this, or Pastor Carrie and them, and we can get you the information where you can purchase letters, or get the support that you need. But work on your credit, because it's credit conquers. Cash might be king, but credit conquers. Because y'all see what's happening with the banks. Your money really don't mean a whole lot. But I digress. Turning it back over to you, Pastor K.
Oh, the third part of our discussion today is building credit, business credit. For you that have business that you're funding out your own pocket, or you all that are looking to start businesses and don't know where to get funding from. First, you start to get your LLC. Go to the Secretary website to set up a business to get an EIN number. A EIN number is used like a social security number, but it's to identify your business. So I'm gonna say that again. If you can't use your EIN number for your social security number, it's strictly for your business, to identify your business. Then second, most people don't know you need to get a Duns and Bradstreet number, what they call is a Duns number. A Duns number is a number that's used for your company name, your contact information, your company financials, and your credit worthies. It's free when you're applying for business credit. So before you start building business credit, these are some of the things that you need before you start building business credit. So before you start, I recommend these things. First, your LLC to get your EIN number, and then go to Duns and Bradstreet to get your Duns number. Third, more importantly,
Can I ask you a question?
Mhm.
Are these free?
Yes, not the LLC. That's with the Secretary of State. So you will have to pay. I think it's $100 if you wanted to get it extradited to get it the same day. I think it's $200 but your Duns and Brad Street number is definitely free. Third, you will need to get a NAB technology. It's a business credit scoring system that monitors your business scores with Equifax, Experian, and Duns and Bradstreet. When you get your EIN number, you apply for your Duns and Bradstreet. It usually takes 2 to 3 days. You get your Duns and Bradstreet number. You apply for a NAB. Now, NAB you will have to pay for. You can pay for it monthly, quarterly, or yearly, and you would add on another uh, merchandise they have that's called NAB Boost. It actually will be, I think you pay $69, $79 a month, or quarterly. I forgot exactly how much it is, but it will go on your business credit as you build business credit. So it will be showing that you have one line of credit first. So in order to make money, you literally have to spend money. And what I mean by spending money is not to going to buy materialistic things. I mean investing in your company, your brand, the things that you want to do. Because you got to understand, if this is your business, you starting out with nothing, and some of y'all that have business, you piling your money into your business when you can use the money that is free to us that we don't have. We don't have a lack of it.
So when you say use money that is free to us, you mean for those of us who have businesses, I am no longer going to use my personal credit. I'm going to use my business credit to increase or expand my business?
Correct. Uh, but most businesses will use your personal credit, meaning they will look at your personal credit. But that's another thing. I'm glad you hit on that because I wanted to get on that. I missed that part. Before you start building business credit, I would always advise you to lock your personal credit.
What do you mean when you say lock?
Lock is mean go to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion and have your credit locked, freeze. Like now, all my personal credit is frozen. So if I choose to go apply for a credit, I have to call them or go online to unlock it so they'll be able to run my credit. So like people when they go get a car, people don't know that when they go in a auto dealership and they get their credit ran, it's literally a computer system and they put their information into about 5, 6 banks. That's why they get all them hits. So with business credit, it's different. When running your business credit, when getting business credit, your personal credit locked, they're gonna run your credit, but it won't hit your credit because it's locked. Only thing they looking at your credit for is to make sure you are who you say you are. So that's the difference in it. But if you're serious about building your business credit, you're serious about investing in your business, it's okay to let them run your personal credit to personal guarantee your business credit because it's something that you're gonna have to pay for regardless. Just because you have business credit, don't mean that it won't show. I put it like this: when you got business credit, it won't show on your personal credit unless you default on your business credit. I'll say that again. Your business credit won't show on your personal credit when you personal guarantee it unless you default on your business credit. Then it will show on your personal credit.
And most of the times they don't allow you, they don't want you to personal guarantee something unless your business credit isn't quite established. Is that correct?
Correct. That is correct. But as you go through these tiers, it's different tiers, and I'll get to that in a minute. I'm gonna get back to as I was telling y'all about getting a NAV boost was something that you were playing. That'll be one of the first lines of credit you have, and then you would begin building business credit by applying for Net 30 accounts. For those that are new to business credit, Net 30 accounts are accounts that you have 30 days to pay, and not all vendors will automatically reward you with a Net 30 account. Whatever the stipulations is, you would just need to purchase like $100 worth of merchandise for like 3 months to get the accounts established on your business. So you're spending this money for 3 months, and hear me out. You just want it to get on your business credit report to show that you got a line of credit. After that, you don't have to buy no more from them. None of that because it shows on your business report that you have lines of credit. So as you're building your business credit, you got to understand it's different tiers. But the most difficult part is being patient because tier 1 is one of the hardest ones you have to deal with. It's because you're establishing the credit. Just like personal credit, you're establishing credit. But I will give y'all some companies that will give you Net 30's account without using personal credit. It's just off your EIN number, and those companies are 1, Uline. 2 is Quill. 3 is Granger. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to say it again. Uline, Quill, and Granger. Now, before anybody go on and get this looking for business credit, and you go on there and you get the order and stuff, I don't want to hear, well, he told me that. Yes, I'm telling you this, but I'm also telling you these 3 companies basically sell the same thing. So if I was you, and what I did is I bought paper towels, I bought what's some things going? Garbage bags. I bought bleach, and I bought all this stuff, and it sits in my house still stocked up. But I had to do it to build business credit. So again, Uline, Quill, and Granger are the first 3. Then you have Home Depot Pro Institutional. They will give you a credit card, a line of credit with for business credit. And then there's going to be things like Foreign Decor. I got one of them cards for my business, and I don't even know what it's for, so I guess it's some household stuff you can use for your floor or something. But I mean, it's
Yeah.
just stuff that you use to build your business credit. And then you got the business T-shirt club. You can establish. So basically, in tier one, these businesses we're using are just businesses to establish credit. It's to establish the business credit. Because and as you build your business credit, you're going to need a paydex score. It's probably with a score of 80. And I think that score go from 0 to 80. And then you have an experience score, and it go from 0 to 100 or something like that in that nature. And then you have your equal back score would go from 0 to 500 or somewhere in that range. And as you build your lines of credit, you will begin to populate the scores, and the scores will rise. So as the scores get higher, then you can use your things as getting American Express business card, a city Costco card. Sam's Club will give you a business credit card without running personal credit. You would have a Sam's Club MasterCard, but that's later on down the line after you build the business credit card when you get like in tier two or tier three. Then you can also go, as you build your business credit, you will be able to put a car in your business name. They have financial institutions that deal strictly with uh, businesses to buy personal cars, um, fleet of cars, whatever. If you want to start a business in Turo, you can use this company. The company name is Ally, Ally. You can use them to buy cars to put on to enhance your business. If you're looking for trucks, you can get them for spinner bands and different things. So that is the basic points
Pastor
of.
Tracy has something.
Okay.
Yeah, Adjutant Ronnie, thank you. This is so awesome. Can you touch on real quick um, the importance of having like all of your documentation from your LLC to your EIN number, bank information, to have that the address is the same. So maybe they might need to do like a type of virtual account, and then the phone numbers, because I know that's important to have, because sometimes when people start a LLC, they'll put their home address on there, right? And then next thing you know, later they may get a business office or a virtual office, but none of the addresses are lining up. Because I've seen like people be denied just because that basic information is not aligned.
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question, Pastor Tracy. And yes, when you setting up your LLC, make sure your addresses do match your phone numbers. I don't advise of using a personal phone number for your business. I will get add an extra line on my personal account and use me with like me. I have this is my personal phone, but I have another phone on my Verizon account that is my business account, and my phones are up under my business account. It's not up under my personal name. You can use a virtual address. A virtual address is actually an address that's a building that you can use for the address of your building. Don't never use a PO box number as your address for a business. That's not good. Make sure everything matches. Pastor Tracy said. You make sure you have a banking account. I forgot that. Thank you, Pastor Tracy, for reminding. Make sure you open up a bank account when you open up your LLC. You can go to Chase. They have where you have to have $5 to put $10. Bank of America, whoever you bank with, or credit unions to open up a bank account, and have all that match. Have it match before you even start building a business credit.
And I just want to say, if you do not want to have that information tied to your personal home, then what you can do is they have several services that you can go and they'll give you a street address. They'll give you a street address, and that way it's still going to a P.O. box, but it's going to a P.O. box that's a street address. And that way you can have all of that information go to that one account. because it is important to have things separated. You should always separate your business and your personal. Although your LLC protects you from being touched as a personally, you still want to have some type of separation because Uncle Sam, the government does pay attention to these LLCs whose names they're in, the business names, and they also want to make sure that you're not, because they want to make sure you're not doing anything that you shouldn't be doing, and so we need to make sure that everything is separated.
Oh, and I'm gonna just step in and say that what you were saying is right. But you know, for the home-based business, it's okay to use your address. You don't have to go out and get a virtual number, and so it's good to use your address for. I mean, you have to use your own wisdom for what you want to use your home address for. And then again, when using your home address, you do get a tax break at the end of the year for using your home for it. All you need is one of the bedrooms,
One room.
one room, and you can get a tax break for that. So
I'm glad you said that because you can. You can, if you're working from home, if you're uh, have a business out of your home, you should keep account of your light bill, your gas bill, your cable, your internet, your cell phone bills, because a lot of us are using our cell phones for our personal and our business. Be able to, you can have two lines on one phone and make sure, and you get to deduct all of that. If you're using a room, you take the square footage of that room, and then you tell your person who is preparing your taxes that this room is strictly for business. So I work from home for my personal job, and then I also work from home for my business. I get to deduct all of that off of my taxes, especially those of you all that are on the cusp of going over into a different tax bracket. You want to make sure that you align everything. Also, if you have an LLC, if your business is doing really good, then at the end of the year, that'll increase your taxes. If you are LLC and your business is not and you're negative at the end and you had more expenses, or you get to write all of that off on your personal taxes. So that's why you want to make sure that everything is in alignment, so that when you're filing your taxes, doing your credit, you want to be certain that all of your paperwork, all of your documents are up to date, current. Make sure everything is current and up to date.
oh yes, and let me say this: make sure when you file your LLC that you're in good standards with the state of Illinois, because you will be denied for personal credit. I mean, not personal, excuse me, business credit. I think you annually, I think it's $80, $75, somewhere around there that you pay to make sure, and they'll give you a good certificate, good standing certificate. You definitely want that in order to build your business credit as well. And that's all I got.
Awesome. I know that we can't see if anyone is asking us any questions online, but I do want to state thank you, Pastor Tracy. We want to swing it back to her. She has some resources that she is going to share with us. But when it comes to credit and finances, you can contact Pastor Tracy, Adjutant Ronald Miller, or myself. We'll be very helpful. We'll be very glad to help you all in any way, because we want to break the back of poverty off of our communities. And the only way for us to do that is to share the information that we have. I want to say that again. Only way to do that is to share the information that we have with one another. And I know what Brother Adjutant Ronald Miller, what he said is true, because when we started our business about 4 years ago, he assisted me with being able to get my LLC, well, not with my LLC, but with my DUNS number. And because of that, our company that had only been established for 2 years, Ally was able to give us a line of credit to purchase our first truck for our business. And so it's these little things that we don't share, but we need to share with one another to be able to help each other get to the next level. I'm going to swing it over to Pastor Tracy.
All right. Thank you so much. This was so good, you guys. Oh my God. And definitely, Adjutant Miller, we're going to be reaching out to you. Y'all make sure y'all reach out to everyone that is presenting today if you need help in those particular areas, and acquire of the different services because it's definitely needed in our community. Okay, so I have the pleasure of speaking with you guys about community resources in the event of, you know, trauma, in the event of deaths and homicides and even natural causes of death. So I'm excited to be sharing with you guys. I want to share my screen just so you can take a screenshot of this document that I have. Okay, let me get this for you. So, and as I pull this up, and let me see if I can share my screen. Let's see. Okay. Mm,
All right, we're sorry about that. We was having some technical difficulties, but I think we're back. So we're going to go back to Pastor Tracy, I believe, and then we'll finish this up.
yeah, I done broke the internet. I'm so sorry. Trying to share my screen, but let me just start from the top. I'm here to share resources as the community that we need, that we see a lack of, and mostly when someone has passed away, we see a lot of this. But then also just going through trauma and hardship, there are resources out there for us in our communities. Okay, so the first thing I was wanted to share with you guys is if you have been victimized in any way, if you are a been victimized of any type of crime, right? It can be anything from, unfortunately, gun violence. It can be sexual assault. It can be robbery. Anything that is a crime that you personally or your family has been victimized of and is directly impacting you, there are resources out here for you. Okay, now I know we're on YouTube, so you might be in a whole nother state, but your state has it as well. But I'm going to talk about what we have here in the state of Illinois. All right, so these resources typically come from your state's attorney general's office. So if you're in another state, or even if you're in Illinois, just type attorney general office victim crimes compensation for your state, so you can Google that. But in Illinois, as of August 7th, 2022, the award cap for claims that you can make if you have been victimized or your family has been victimized went from 27,000 up to $45,000. So now you can make claims up to $45,000 if you have been victimized for uncovered expenses, including medical, hospital, dental, and prescription expenses, counseling for the victim and their family. So if you're like, I need counseling, but my insurance won't pay for it, or I don't have insurance, and so you're looking for counseling services, this will reimburse you. Okay. Loss of earnings and support up to $2,400 a month. So if you have been victimized or a family member and it's impacting you, where maybe you have to take care of the person or you're grieving because there was a loss attached to the crime, then you need to take time off. You will be paid and can be paid up to $2,400 per month in loss of services. So if you don't make $2,400 a month on your job, obviously it will be capped out at what you actually bring in from your job. This fund will also cover funeral and burial expenses up to $10,000. Before it was $8,000, so now it's actually before it was $7,500, and now it is $10,000. So if from the crime, right? If your loved one, or unfortunately, if it's yourself, whoever it may be, and maybe you don't have insurance. Of course, we need to have insurance, right? Everyone should have insurance, but maybe you don't have insurance, um, and you need the funeral to be paid for. All right, this will pay up to $10,000. Now, from my experience working in this field of um, working with crime victims, most burial companies do not take this crime victim compensation. Okay, they want their money up front most of the time, but a lot of the funeral homes, not all of them, will take it 100% where you won't have to come out of your pocket with anything. All right, so that's important to know. So if you have a loved one that has died because of a crime, gun, knife, robbery, any of those things outside of car accident, does not cover a car accident. You can be covered up to $10,000 if your loved one wants to be cremated. Then they too can. This will cover the cremation costs as well as the funeral, again up to $10,000. If this will also cover, this fund will cover crime scene cleanup, relocation, loss of clothes, and or bedding taken for evidence. So if a crime happened at your home, this will pay for that to be cleaned up. Okay. And then if you have to move because in the communities that I work in, people are victimized sometimes in their own home or on their porch or in front of their house. So the remaining family does not feel safe there anymore, and they need to relocate. Or maybe they were shot there, and the living victim like, hey, I don't feel safe here. I need to move to another community or another state. You will have to pay these costs up front most of the time, but you can be reimbursed again, totaling up to $45,000. Okay. And you can again just Google crime victim for your state, and that information will come up. It's a free service that the state offers. Most people do not utilize the service, and they just don't know sometimes that it exists. So I think that is just important for us to know. Also, if you are not a victim of crime, you're like, well, Tracy, where is that assistance at? But you don't have insurance. Illinois Department of Human Services, and probably whatever state that you are in, offers this as well. But DHS will pay up to $1,370 for a funeral, which is not a whole lot. The average funeral is going to cost a family about $6,500. Okay, and that's not even including a burial. But they will pay. DHS will pay up to $1,370 for a funeral and $686 for a cremation or burial. Some funeral homes do offer what's called a direct cremation service, which means that there's no funeral attached to it, no memorial service, none of that. You have to do that on your own, but they will just take your loved one and will cremate them for about $600 to $1,200, depending on the funeral home. And again, this will pay for that. This is a DHS death benefit, Department of Human Services. And I have these resources in a PDF file. That's what I was trying to share with you guys before I broke the internet, and I do apologize. But I will share it with Pastor Carrie, and then that way, if you guys need it, they can email it out to you, send this document out to you as well for those of you who are local. Also, finally, there are some nonprofit organizations that can help you navigate through this. When I was actively working in this area, helping victims of gun violence, I went to the funeral home with my families. I went to the the Cook County medical examiner's office so that they can identify their loved one. I went to those places with them every step of the way. As a nonprofit organization, as a representative of one, I went to these places to help the families, because a lot of times you are, not in your right state of mind, you're grieving, or you're in pain, or you're dealing with some things. Maybe if you are a victim of violence and now it impaired your ability to work for whatever reason. Maybe there's a physical impairment or a mental impairment, but you can't go back to work. You're traumatized, right? Well, as a victim advocate, then that person can assist you in applying for short-term or long-term disability. these are some of the things that we assisted our families with. That person can also assist you in applying for food stamps and medical benefits and other state resources. Okay. So I do have a list, and it varies from community to community, that you can utilize to get these services, which these nonprofit organizations, they offer them completely free and no charge to you. All right. So we have Nonviolence Chicago, Nonviolence Institute, which is nonviolencechicago.org. We have newlifecenters.org. We have Universal Family Connections.org. um, we have, let's see, mfsfamily.org. If you go to MFS Family, which is Metropolitan Family Services, they do have a list of all of the different organizations in their own network that you can tap into. And this is for the city of Chicago. Across the city, various communities cater to, or various organizations cater to the communities that they're in. And if you contact any of these communities and they're like, oh, we don't service your community, just ask them if they don't offer. Can you direct me to an organization that does? And I'm sure that they will. So these resources are out here, definitely. These do not act as insurances, but they can help. And again, the biggest thing that I can appreciate with the Illinois Attorney General is they will pay up to $2,400 a month for lost earnings and or support. This support is even for your children. So if someone is a victim of gun violence, and whether they are alive or unalive, then their children can even receive this benefit payment up to $2,400 a month. So that is that. And again, I'll pass these resources on to Pastor Kate, and then you guys can receive those if you need it.
Awesome. Thank you, Pastor Tracy. It is unfortunate that we have to have those type of resources, but it is good to know that they are available if people are in need. So that wraps up our financial services seminar. We appreciate everyone that came on the live. We are grateful for Pastor Tracy yielding her experiences to us, our expertise, as well as Adjutant Ronald Miller. We are just grateful to be able to bring this information to you all, and hopefully, if it's a need, we'll do it again and in person. So we thank our pastor, Bishop C.E. Williams, again for allowing us to have this seminar for you all today. And that's all I have. If you don't have a church home, please visit us tomorrow, 607 Harvard in Oak Park, where our own bishop will be going forward. We will start our service at 11:45. But if you want to get a jump start, we'll be here at 10:30 for our Dominion University. And until we meet again, you all have a blessed day.
Blessings. Have a great day, everyone.